Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw. I like how your stage photos always have this edge of playfulness to them. Like you obviously don't take yourselves too seriously. And it's like, that's like me. I take my work very seriously, but I don't take myself very seriously. So, in this photograph, you're on deck chairs. Now, I know you've done, I remember you did a lot of, cruises maybe together, and then some of the photographs were during the cruises.
Yes.
So was this on a cruise or was this a separate?
Nope, this was the author's cruise. So we do an annual author's cruise. Any aspiring author that wants to join those kinds of cruises, reach out to me and I'll fill them in on the information.
Amazing.
It's fun.
Yeah. So you see in the photograph, you're seated on deck chairs. Your hand is on, like your chin's on your hand. You're looking at Charles, who's kind of, I don't want to use the word ham it up because of the ham, but he's kind of like, he's playing up for the camera. He's seated on this chair and there's this massive, is it wood or is it plastic hamburger? I guess, but it's massive. Like it's probably about like 2 feet or 3 feet tall by 2 feet wide or whatever. And it's as if you're about to bite in. So what's this all about?
Basically, it was just a fun exercise. And I think the caption I put along with it was that when you're ordering for your meal, order the big hamburger. Mm-hmm. And it's sort of a metaphor to to life. I mean, you supersize it, but go have fun. I mean, it's you may not be able to finish the whole burger, but you take slices of it and you put it in bags and freeze it for the rest of the week. It'll work fine. But it's that seize the moment. You have an opportunity to be able to do it bigger, better than the last time.
Okay. It's a playful shot. Rox, what do you think? How do you interpret this?
A little similar. However, to me, it's more like the analogy of the elephant. There's an elephant that's a problem and it's gigantic. And so how do you beat the elephant? And it's always been one bite at a time. And so whether it's a hamburger or an elephant or it's a test in school or whatever it is, you can do it. You just have to do it one bite at a time.
Right. Okay. So one of the guests I had on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, she would go around and she'd give people nuggets of hope. Right. And so I love this idea of like this little nugget of hope, nugget of truth, nugget, like an insight. So can we, like, beyond this idea of just how you break down a massive problem is one bite at a time, you deconstruct it. How about you talk about that in terms of the writer's task?
Well, for us, it's a novel. We like writing stories that are long, but you can't write a long story if it isn't interesting and doesn't pull writers along or readers along, and it's not fun. So, there's different styles of writers, and we kind of fit both styles. It just depends on the moment. But when we are approaching a novel, we typically do it as an overarching idea. This is the cyber threat we want to target in the story. There may be some smaller threats in the background, but this is the main threat we want to do. These are the main characters we want to have as a part of the story, but that's how we began. And so we never, plot out the entire story character by chapter and some people do that. They're very good at doing that. That's not something we do well because we work in two different locations. It just doesn't work. So, but we then rough out 5 to 10 chapters of how to bring that story through. And so that's our specific approach. And then Charles will take a chapter and tie it toward that direction, and I'll take a chapter, and then we share them back and forth until we smooth them into sounding like a single voice, which is our ultimate
Hmm.
goal. We want to sound like we're one author. You don't want people going ding, 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 ding. So
Yeah, of course.
I guess the analogy was quite good that she put together was, um, let's go write a novel. A novel for us is 70 to 100,000 words. That is a huge hamburger to try to choke down all at once. And so being able to go through it, as she suggested, we take 5 or 10 chapters and write. And then what'll happen invariably is one of us will wake up and go, I've got a swell idea. Or the characters will say, no, I want to go this direction. And they'll actually talk to us and say, if this is my character, then this is what I would do in this particular scenario. And that'll give us that freshness and that, wow, let's see where this goes, because we couldn't have postulated that in advance. And if we had, we'd have, okay, scrap this, and we're going to go ahead and go with the new direction anyway. So again, they're big projects. They looked intimidating from somebody looking at trying to get a hamburger that's 2 feet tall and 4 feet wide, but they are pieces that you can pull off and consume until you finally got through to the end of the hamburger.
So because you're like two brains who are kind of working off each other, there's this juxtaposition, this interplay, which can lead to a lot of amazing contrasts and a lot of surprises, right? So has there ever been, because to a certain extent, sometimes you can make art or you can make writing and you don't know why some idea, like where that idea came from. Like you woke up one morning and for whatever reason, your brain served it up and you're just like, well, okay, this is what I'm working with now. Okay, now my character decided to hijack a plane or whatever it is. But then on top of that, you're both working together where you're kind of responding to another, and that just increases everything by like geometrically. Like it just makes it just huge, right? So we give a recent example where one of you suggested something that seemed so out of left field that it seemed kind of preposterous, but it actually ended up being really creatively nourishing or just full of potential.
I think the most recent one is actually creating a new series. It was we've been very diligent on our series, and going into a brand new series is like, okay, what does that mean for branding? What does it mean for followers? What does it mean for this or that or the other? But it allowed that break, that natural break allows us to hit a little bit different audience, to bring it down to a little younger group of people. At least that's our hope, that we'll get wild reviews on the story with the younger group. But that's a big one, to kind of say, okay, we're going to take a right turn on the series, and the old characters that we loved and we nurtured and all of that, they are the parents, and they didn't all die, but they're not front and center anymore.
Okay. So just for some background, how many books did your previous series lead
The Enigma series itself had 12.
Okay. Yeah, that's sizable.
Yeah. Now, as a corollary to that, though, we had several short stories, approximately 11, that we published that were backstory material for the series. So what we bumped into was readers that said, "Boy, where did this our group come from? How they? I mean, you got it in modern day, like we got that, but where did they get off on this tangent of fighting the cyber bad guys? I mean, that's, you don't take it out an ad in the newspaper for that. I mean, where did they come from?" So, we wrote the prequel out of Poland, where we basically talk about the beginnings of the R group and how they against all odds, 3 Polish nationals decided that they were going to hit back at the German invasion in 1939, and they steal the Enigma machine from the Germans. The big issue is how to get it out and get it to the Allies to break the code.
How much do you get? Do you kind of exchange? Do you get involved, or do you really kind of get down into the front lines, for example, with your readers? Like, how connected are you to your readers?
We've got a couple of readers that are. Our favorite one is a rather bright young lady out of Arizona now, Gail. She was. She made us laugh because she hit on one of the characters, one of the femme fatales that we introduced back in book 5, and she said, "This is a detestable character. I cannot believe you let her get away." And then by book 6, I guess it was she started in 4, 5, and by book 6, the comment from Gail was, "She's redeemable." I didn't realize that, but thank you for I'm glad I stayed with it because there was something good there that you guys finally nurtured out, and she enjoyed it. So that's how close we get with some of the characters in some of the books.
We love doing book festivals and book events and things like that, but of course COVID kind of cooled the jets on that for a while. But we do get loyal fans that give us feedback, both good and bad, and that's reasonable and that's real, and we like that. But of course, we'd always like more. People can reach out to us; they can reach our email address, and they can get responses within 24 hours usually. And so, I don't know that you can ever, as a writer, get enough reader feedback. I just don't know that's possible. I know you can get some poor, with social media today, you can get some, not so much poor follow up, but you can get some weird people that kind of, just probably should never get on the computer ever.
Right. Okay. Well, let's use that as the segue to the next photograph. Is that okay?
Let's do it.
Yeah, go for it, Ran.
So, is life really a gift? Really? Can you make every second count? That's the whole point of the podcast. So, if you like what you've seen and you're inspired, because that really is my mission, then please give it a like, subscribe, and share.
Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting.